Hello, hello. Welcome. Sorry for the late start tonight. A little bit later than usual. Life's a little bit later than usual. Oh, that don't make any sense. I don't know if anybody's going to show up. This is kind of, I wasn't even exactly sure if I was going to do a live tonight. But I wanted to get on here and talk to everybody, even if there's not a whole lot of camera news. There is some interesting stuff with the Fuji X-T5 possibly coming out, as well as a Nikon Z30 that is supposed to be making its way to your camera hands. It's supposed to be making its way, I think they say June 29th. So I figured we would go over a couple of those stories right there. And other than that, we will just hang out and talk about whatever else anybody wants to talk about. If you're here and you're in the chat, that's where it's at. Enjoy, jump into the conversation with us. Appreciate that always. As well as if you're here in the chat, hit that like button. We'll get this out to more people. So I'm checking my audio here. I'm not just looking down at my phone for no reason. I like to see how long the actual delay time is between everything else. So a lot of times I use this here for that. So I see that somebody is here in the chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate the like button. Appreciate hitting that. Hey, what's up, man? Don TV is in the house again. Appreciate you for being here. Right now it's just me and you, man. It's going to be a private conversation.
And me.
And my son, he's about to go to bed, so just figured he'd get on here and say hi. Yeah, he's reaching for the microphone. We're actually getting ready to go to Vietnam here. I guess, golly, it's like 60 hours from now. It feels weird because it went from like it's never going to come to like, oh, it's happening now and I'm not ready. So like if you're looking at my set and you think it looks really bare, it is because it is bare. I have everything going on. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, no, you can't talk to the mic yet. If you grab the mic, we will enjoy Vietnam. And so I'm not sure how long this live stream will be tonight, but I want to get on here and talk a little bit about what we got going on in the camera news, and then I will probably cut it short and get back to packing. Everything is destroyed. Like I'm looking right over here, and it's like I feel like a hoarder in this house right now. Okay. So Don, how you been? Since we're just having a conversation, me and you right now. Let's see here if I can be sharing this screen. Let's see here. Really might just be me and you, man. Usually that's not the case. Usually we get one or two more people in here. Oh, we got another. If you're here and you'd like to join in on the chat, it's always appreciated. Just going over a little bit of the camera news of the week, which was not too much, but it is here. So I was talking about a little bit about this. The X2. Oh, okay. I did not see this news. That's interesting. So the XH2 has the first leak of the XH2. Does it look that much different than? Can you guys tell? Do y'all know the look of the XH2S to know if it looks that much different? Because I'm assuming that it looks very similar. They're saying right here, as we know, since the Fujifilm X Summit, Fujifilm introduces the 5th generation cameras with. Oh, thank you. Night, love you. Oh my God, you scared me. I thought you dropped him. Oh gosh, sorry guys. I literally thought my wife dropped the baby for a second. It was terrible. As we know, since the Fujifilm X Summit, Fujifilm introduces the 5th generations with two sensors, the 26 megapixel X-Trans CMOS 5 XHS. So I'm thinking that is apparently that is the one that is in the XH2S. And now they say a 40 megapixel X Trans CMOS 5HR. Now more on that later, because that is supposedly going to be the sensor that's also in the XT5. I had a video about that. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but we can kind of go into more details. The first model to come was the HS version, hence that, yeah, okay, there we go. In order to mark this specific model, Fujifilm printed the letter S on the front of the camera. All this considered, there was a widespread belief out there that the HR model would therefore have an R printed in front of the camera. However, as we can see from the latest image, the XT2H, there is nothing at all on the front, where the XH2S has the S. The XH2 will have nothing. But hey, don't blame me, guys. I still believe that Fujifilm is just a shadow company for Fuji, or Fujifilm. Fuji Rumors is a shadow because they get like everything right from what I've seen. Okay, let's go back to the chat and see if anybody is here chatting with us. Okay, good. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Just got home from a wedding. Yeah, that's right. You were shooting a wedding and you were asking about what would be another B cam or another camera that you maybe to add in addition to it. So did it go off well, or I mean, did I assumingly you didn't lose all the data? That'd be terrible. You said I'm going to share it with my buddy. He's a Fujifilm fan. I really appreciate that, man. Anytime you can get this out to more people, it really helps out. It's crazy to me how it's crazy how just putting it out there to more people. Like my channel has been not doing so hot because there's not been much camera news in general. So I haven't been putting out. I've been putting out content, but it hasn't been as popular of content. But then I have the Fuji camera, Fuji rumors about the XT5, and instantly it's a big hit, and my channel has been growing again. So it's just all about one video that can change it for everybody. So I appreciate everybody being here and doing what you can do. But I will have to go back over that. Maybe do a video on that XH2 because that is going to be a popular camera. As far as the XT5 is concerned, since that video was out, I'm very interested to see what they do with the XT5, especially if they're using that 40 megapixel sensor. I think that means 8K is for sure going to be a thing, but I do think they're going to hinder it in a few different ways. Because I don't see them stepping on the toes of the XH2S or the XH2. So I keep looking down at my phone to see kind of where the delay is at. Okay, it's about 10 seconds. What's up? We're getting some more people in the chat. Appreciate it, or rather more people watching the live stream. If you're here in the chat, jump in, hit the like button, get this out to some more folks so we can enjoy ourselves, talk about some camera news along the way. We also have, let me go over and jump over to another story that we can talk about. We have over here, up here, that's a big story. I just did that. Okay. They say they have some great improvements, about the autofocus and stuff like that. Like, to me, autofocus is the biggest feature that the XH2S needed to prove for itself, because everybody knows Fujifilm has done, I don't know about everybody, but I think most people agree, Fujifilm has done some incredible stuff with their cameras as far as colors, as far as putting 10-bit in their cameras before anybody else. I guess maybe Panasonic did with Micro Four Thirds, but APS-C wise. And so they've done some very interesting stuff in their small bodies. I think people, generally speaking, like the Fujifilm brand. But the two things that have been holding them back has been the IBIS and the autofocus for sure. And I know a lot of people who are really down on Fujifilm because of that reason. So that being said, I think it was a ill-advised move to wait. I know they're going to continue to get better, but to say, okay, now they have a firmware that improves the autofocus, that should have been really where your improvements were. Like, to me, I would have rather seen them say, we're adding this additional feature later on, kind of like Nikon did. If you think about what Nikon did, saying they're going to add 8K 60, they were going to add a few different other features to the Nikon. They wound up adding ProRes and things like that, some incredible firmwares. And of course, they're going to improve on the autofocus, but Nikon had to prove themselves to say, we want better autofocus because we're not on the level that Canon and Sony were on at that point. And I mean, now they're kind of very comparable. So to me, I would have rather seen Fujifilm S come out and say, okay, we got to add certain things. We're going to be adding, I think ProRes is in there. We're going to be adding all these different things to the camera as far as features go, but we really focused in on getting this autofocus amazing. Because if they're able to, a month later, truly have made their autofocus something great, then they should have waited a month or just focused more resources on autofocus instead of focusing on new features. They could have added those later, but they needed to fix the main complaints that everybody's had. My opinion, maybe you can drop in the chat and add to the conversation. Let's see who is all here. Anybody here that wants to add to the conversation? We are talking camera news. We're talking Fujifilm. We're about to talk some Nikon, about the Nikon Z30 that is expected to be announced. And also we can talk about that new lens that is coming from Nikon and the new Canon lens that is rumored to be coming, or it's actually a CR3. So according to Canon rumors, they believe it is confirmed to be coming. It's a 135 1.8. So that'll be interesting to talk about. If you're here in the chat and you can chat, appreciate that always. If you're here in the chat and just watching, I appreciate that as well. Hit that like button. We can get this out to more people and get a more back and forth conversation going besides this me and Don, which I appreciate Don, of course. Is the audio correct? Am I breaking up? Wow, what are we talking about here? Are you referring to the Fujifilm, what I was just talking about, Fujifilm, or what is the wow? Oh, 135 1.8. Yes, let's jump over to that 135 1.8 here. I think that will be a interesting lens coming out. Okay, so this is the latest from Canon rumors. Right here, it's a CR3 Q4 of 2022, an RF 135 1.8L USM. So, USM, is that their stabilization? I can't remember. I don't know why I'm blanking. I think USM is their stabilization. Or is IS their stabilization? Because each one kind of has a little bit of a different acronym for stabilization. So I don't know why I can't think of their here. So let's read on it a little bit more. We have confirmed yesterday's repost about 2 new full-frame RF lenses in the RF 24 1.4 IS. Okay, so the other one maybe is an IS. Macro and the RF 15-30. Oh, that's interesting lens for some people, which is definitely going to be on the lower side. But I don't know why you would have a variable aperture from 15-30. I think that's a little silly. You can get those pretty small, as Sony has proven at that point. Our assumption that they would be announced in the next few weeks may have been incorrect. These lenses may not be announced until October or November of this year. A third lens will also be announced by November. Wow. And that will be the RF 135 1.8L. So this will be their L series. We're not sure about IS. I would hope at 135 you would get some kind of IS. That would be great because at that focal length you will get some jitters if you're hand holding any of this stuff. the 1.4L USM has been on our rumor roadmap for quite some time, and we have seen patents for such an optical formula. However, it looks like we're getting a 1.8 version of the very popular focal length. There has been no word on much rumored 35 1.2. We will actively try to get some new information. So what is this, a $2,500 lens? Something of that nature? I guess depending on everything. I mean, it's going to be great. At 135 to have a 1.4, that background will be, or sorry, even a 1.8, that background will be ridiculously blown out. Or not blown out, but bokehfied. Bokehfied, is that a thing? I'm coining the term bokehfied from now on. So if you hear that, copyright pending, trademark pending. 1,500 to 2,000. But usually, isn't there L series lens? Isn't that the top of the line? If I'm not mistaken, like, isn't there 85 1.4 and L series as well? And for example, I can't find it. It's packed. But my favorite lens ever is the 15 to 35 IS 2.8. I think it's an L series. The most expensive lens I've ever bought, best lens I've ever bought, in my opinion. The most diversified lens that I've ever had. I love it. So that being said, that was over $2,000, and that was more of the cheaper L series lenses, as where you had the 85. It's 2,500, and if you got the defocus smoothing, the DS version, that was somewhere around 2,800. I rented that lens in the past, and I compared it to the $600 f2 version at 85, which, I mean, for the price and the weight, I actually personally, I like like, it's not going to be near as good as the 1.2. Don't get me wrong, but it does the job for like 98% of the people who don't need to buy a $2,800 lens. So I think it's going to be at least $2,500, but we'll see. Be great. 15 to 2,000. Maybe some of that Nikon pressure of the excellent lenses that are coming out from Nikon recently, and the price drop. Maybe they will counter with that. I guess it just kind of depends on how they're selling. I mean, if they're selling all they can get, then why can you blame them for pricing it where they're pricing it? If people are willing to buy it, and Canon has knocked it out of the park lately. I got to say, I've been tempted in some ways to go back to, right now, Sony's my primary, Canon's my secondary, ever since seeing the R5C, which has its quirks about it, but it's almost legitimately the perfect camera for myself. Doesn't mean it's the perfect camera, but it's one of the best. Back when I used to use Canon, a friend of mine let me use the 85 1.4L, and I fell in love with it. That is still an excellent lens, and with the way that the RF mount works, you can use those EF lenses really easily, and they seem to work very accurate as well. So I don't think many people need to upgrade, in my mind, but to each of their own. One thing that I don't like is that when you use that adapter, I believe that the shutter doesn't come down anymore to protect your sensor, which not every camera company does that anyways. But that is one thing that I think is lacking when you use that extra adapter. Other than that, being a first-party adapter, it seems to work about as flawlessly as an adapter can, or usually does. Works fairly native-like. But yeah, now that they have the RF mount, that is one thing that I say that Canon has done better so far than pretty much anybody besides Nikon. Looks like they're starting to catch up on that. With the advent of mirrorless cameras, they kind of had, supposedly the glass was going to be able to, I think it was the flange difference or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not super technical on everything, but they were supposed to be able to have some exotic lenses, and they they just really haven't had as many exotic lenses as, they kind of wind up going back and recreating some of that stuff. Um, um, they really just kind of went back to recreate some of that stuff, and um, that they were creating in the past, like 24 to 70 2.8. It's like, okay, that's great, but they've had that kind of lenses before, and it felt like, oh, just rebuy our camera lenses, and it's kind of been silly. But Canon has done some interesting stuff as far as saying, we're going to give you a that 24 to 72 f2, which is nuts. Now, they didn't have image stabilization in it, but it's still cool. It's still unique. So I think Canon at least was the first out of the gate to start innovating with their lenses. Granted, it's a bigger lens mount. I think that kind of puts slight fire underneath Sony, and Sony has now been, with their second generation, really trying to step up the envelope, or at least step up to the plate. And then Nikon is doing some unique things with their lenses, but I'm not as up to date on Nikon as a lot of people are, so I can't share too much on that. Don said, hey, everyone that's watching, feel free to start chatting. Absolutely, feel free. This is very casual conversations. That's what these Saturday nights are about. Just, you ask any question you like, jump in. Last week we wound up talking about Vietnam and travel, and we had a Mad Dog here, and we had Long Rider, and they had an individual chat going on talking about motorcycles, which was really cool. And that's what I like this. Of course, it's camera centric, it's camera news. We'll go over some of the latest stuff, but this is about me being able to talk to the community and you guys getting your questions in. I really don't know how much this helps the growth of the channel, to be honest, but it's kind of the videos that I can make right now with the current schedule of having a youngin', and also just the fact that we're about to move to Vietnam, or essentially move to Vietnam for the time being, and start that channel as well. That's kind of the schedule. I am hoping that when I get to Vietnam, I can start doing some more on the scene stuff. Maybe do street photography in Vietnam. Do comparisons between an iPhone and a mirrorless camera, and see if people can tell the difference. That is really hopeful. And so, but there's a lot of people that do that type of stuff, and I feel like when it comes to camera news, it's me, an ordinary filmmaker, who really concentrate on that particular style. So, but I do see the limitations of that, and I want to be able to add, I can get some more growth going, because it's no secret that when you're doing YouTube, you need some success as well in order to justify the work that goes into it. And I'm grateful for where I'm at, but I'm ready for the next level. Don says they're helpful to me. Hope it's helpful to everyone else as well. Well, thank you, Don. I really appreciate that. He, like I said, any question that you want to throw at me, throw it at me. I'll talk personal stuff. I'll talk camera stuff. I am an open book for the most part. So yeah, glad you're here. If you're here and you can chat, great. If you're here and you just are passively listening, that's great as well. But if you are passively listening, hit that thumbs up so we can get more people in here and start more dialogues, and maybe get a little bit more topical with different stuff. Appreciate everybody being here. And it's crazy on a Saturday night. It seems like we've done quite a bit. So you wanted to ask me, okay, Don said, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on soft skin options on the Sony. Do you use it? Is there a specific time you would use it? And is it Vita or Vita? Living abroad. Oh man, cool. I'm gonna be doing the same thing in the next 50 hours, 60 hours. I guess I'll be there in 72, but I'm leaving in 50 hours. I'll be in Vietnam for the foreseeable future. Appreciate you being here. Thankful for everybody else. I use it, but literally today I noticed that it's unnecessary for some situations. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. Is there a particular feature in Sony cameras that soften the skin? What I do, and this softens the skin, is I use S-Log3. I just send the detail all the way down to 7. I might have bumped it up to 5. I can't remember, but it's basically has been at 7. And then I throw a Pro Mist filter on it, and that's what I use for softer skin tones. And then if I need to sharpen things in post, then I will sharpen in post. But overall, I don't really worry about it other than that, because I feel like when it comes to skin tones, that gives me a desired look that I like without being too over sharpened, and kind of gives a little bit more of a filmic look. But you can sharpen it in post, and sometimes I will do that depending on the shot. Dawn said the second. Or Vita said the second. Oh, Vita. Okay, that's what I got. Okay. I think I said that right. Vita is the one I think I said second. So there was a thing for the A7 3 with that, or A7S3. I'm not aware of it. Maybe that's just my ignorance. I feel there's so much about Sony that I still don't know. Sony is just so detailed, and to be real, I don't use my camera as much as I need to. I use it to create these videos, but I maybe don't think about it as much as maybe I don't think about as much technical stuff as I used to. But I do find it interesting that with Canon, everything was so easy to use that I think there's pros and cons, because when I pick up a Canon, I do like the intuitiveness of having a Canon camera. But at the same time, having a Sony camera feels like a tool, and being able to give you all that options, it makes me think, and this is placebo effect 100%, but it makes me feel like I'm a professional with a Sony camera. Where with the Canon camera, it makes me feel like I'm more of a consumer. You can get great image quality out of both, and I use both. But I don't know, it just puts me in a different mindset. Overall, I feel like I need to talk about or think about story and composition more than I need to think about my camera, but I do enjoy it. To answer your question, Don, I'm not sure of a specific thing. What I do for softer skin tones is, like I said, drop down the detail. I use S-Log3. I drop down the detail to like -7, and basically as far as it'll go. Put a Pro Mist filter on it, and shoot the camera. And so far, I appreciate the look of it. I hope you guys think it looks fairly professional. Hope so. That's my opinion on it. But there may be better options that you know about. Correct. It's Italian for life. Appreciate that for the information. My last name is Rotoni. My heritage is all Italian. Not all Italian. I'm a quarter Italian, but my heritage, my last name is Italian. And so I appreciate it. Jason said Sony for life. I appreciate that sentiment and the loyalty. I think we've talked about this, Jason. You're saying that. I think you're fanboying a little bit right now just for fun. But from talking to you, I really don't think that you're a lifer with Sony. I think you're who can get the job done, and so far Sony is getting the job done. But I remember your A7R5 C review, and the way I think you talked about it was you're open for whatever tool gets the job done. But you're so ingrained in Sony right now that it is definitely it's definitely where it's best off. Okay, so Vita says, on the softening on Sony cameras, I believe it may be used for cosmetics or ladies channels. It's to reduce over sharpening. Yeah, maybe. I think dropping that detail does, and adding the Pro Mist probably does about the same thing. Because if you do it that way, I mean, I don't know the algorithms they use. Maybe it's excellent. But overall, I think if you do it that way, you can always add detail. It's harder to subtract detail. But I don't know what the pros and cons are. That would be interesting to know somebody who's a little bit more technically minded on that. Dawn says, "Hey Jason," and Jason says, "Always get the job done." So I had you pegged, I think, a little right on that one. And Jason says, "Hey Don." So the other thing about it is, though, I don't want to say that I'm a Sony person for life, just because I don't want to appear, for my particular purposes, not for everybody else's. But since I'm covering camera news of all sorts, I want people to feel like I am being as unbiased as possible with this particular channel. So I want people to get the impression. I mean, everybody has a bias, but I want people to at least have the impression that I am not degrading anybody's camera when I'm critiquing people's cameras and wanting them to do better. So yeah, or a camera company to do better. The one thing I think Sony has been dropping the ball on, and I rant about this for so many times, besides the screen, which is, I'm just done with that fight right now. I don't understand their firmware. It's so stupid. It feels disrespectful to the community of loyal fans that Sony has built up for them to just not add some incredible features. They're great cameras as is, don't get me wrong, but like, you're not going to add animal eye video detect in your, quote unquote flagship video camera or your flagship overall camera. That's silly. You're going to put that in a not a lower end camera, but you know what I mean, in general, a lower priced tier camera. You're not going to use Jason. Man, you sold me so much. It's similar to false colors with the focus, I believe. It's not false colors, but it's very similar. It's on the A7 IV. That was one feature that I know you pretty much transferred over to the A7 IV for. Not the only reason, but why not add that to the A7S III at this point? Like, you're going to expect somebody who already has bought an expensive camera to go buy a cheaper camera to have that one feature. That's silly. It's different when you want to protect your high end. I still think that is a cheap thing, but I at least can understand it a little bit more. Focus mapping. Yeah, thank you for clarifying on that. So yeah, I think that is a great feature that I think needs to be in addition. And the upsetting part is they brought out a firmware for the A7S III, and it was like, we helped the autofocus. I'm like, great. I wish Fujifilm and other companies would do that, Panasonic, but you don't really need to be focusing your time on autofocus because it's almost indistinguishably great at this point. Focus your attention on making your cameras better. The A1 got 422 instead of 420 for when they're 8K, but again, that's very nominal. And like, you get cameras like the Nikon adding ProRes and all that kind of stuff, and RAW, and it's like, well, we gave you 422. I was like, come on, are you joking? And yeah, it's still not bringing over those features. So that's that type of stuff makes me not want to say I'm a lifer, just because if a camera company, and I don't think Sony's at that point right now, but let's say a year from now, Sony is still half-assing upgrading their cameras, which is even more so in a pandemic time where you can't bring out more cameras. But if they keep doing that in a year, I might say, well, Canon and Nikon are showing me that they're invested in their cameras long term. Let me maybe jump back over there and keep my Sony cameras as B-roll. I don't know. That's possible. Okay, so Don said, so for babies, would you recommend it? Vita, brides for babies. I was like, their skin's so beautiful. Why would you do that? For brides, hi, you can be a little biased, or hey, you can be a little biased. Nothing wrong with that. That's true. Everybody can be a little biased, and I guess I'm biased for Sony and Canon. I appreciate that Nikon is stepping up to the plate, and giving us more, because we want more competition. Uh, um, as far as brides go, I don't know much about it. I would recommend it for who does not do anything in post. Um, okay, well, yeah, he obviously has used this more than I do, so I don't know. Um, I guess I guess what are you using now, Don? Are you dropping the I don't know. I would, and like I said, don't know, so this is completely me guessing, but I would think that dropping the detail in general and putting a pro mist will probably give you better results than anything they can do with the algorithm, or that they do with the algorithm. I could be wrong. I don't know. I just usually am not a fan of adding that type of stuff unless they're going to go all in with that and do some computational photography. I mean, and computational video. It's nuts to me that, of course, you have your downsides with low light and you have all that stuff, but to think that the iPhone has better dynamic range than these full frame sensors is silly. Like, what the hell are we doing here? It just shouldn't be the case. Not with the capabilities that they have. Um, uh, okay, so okay, let me clarify. I'm not saying an iPhone is as good, but with the dynamic range, it's as good or better. So I think that particular feature. Um, Jason says, I think Canon and Nikon and Panasonic need to push Sony more to produce better. Sony are too comfortable. But I guess that's the point I'm making, Jason, is they have been. And I think Canon for sure is, you got to think Canon, Sony has been very comfortable because they're in the mirrorless space way before, full frame mirrorless space way before everybody else. But now Canon's came over strong, and Canon is the largest camera brand. So once they're making the transition over, you got to think that they have a big install base, bigger than Sony. You know, if they're bringing their line over and now all their new cameras are focused in on mirrorless, that's where their pros are going, and eventually that's where the entire market is going for them. So if you don't want to be dropped down to number 2 in mirrorless, you need to do better. So I guess my thought process is, from my thing, they are too comfortable, but I think they've been too comfortable for too long at this point. So if they don't shape up, like Olivia Newton-John would say, wow, that's an old reference. But if they don't get their act together in 6 months or a year, it will start to show. One thing I will say, and maybe this is the philosophy they're taking at this point, and it'll be interesting. One thing that Canon did is they came out with not so good cameras. They were under spec with the EOS R and the RP, but they focused heavily on creating unique, powerful lenses. And then now they're reaping the benefits of having those lenses with their incredible cameras. So maybe that's Sony's thought process is, hey, we're on par or better in a lot of ways than our competition. Let's focus in on creating some unique lenses, and then we will jump back to the Sony bodies. But no excuse not to add firmware. Vita said, agree with Matt, a Pro Mist would do better. Well, I always like being agreed with, even though I'm wrong sometimes. Don says, if Panasonic fixes their autofocusing issues, they'd be a really good competitor. Yeah, 100%. I think, but everybody's been saying that for 5 years at this point. It feels like it. I remember when the Fujifilm X, or what is it? Oh God, there's so many. S1H came out. I wanted that camera more than any camera that was out at the time. They were light years ahead of everybody else with their features in the full frame market. They're still one of the only cameras that's a mirrorless camera, if I'm not mistaken, that is Netflix approved. I don't know if maybe Nikon's becoming that now. Maybe the Canon R5C is going to be getting that status. but they got that years ago, and but the autofocus stopped me because even though I was willing to spend that money to get a future-proof camera, just hearing all the different stuff about autofocus, I am not the best. I'm not going to be pulling manual focus. I don't want to be thinking about manual focusing most of the time. If it's there if I need it, but if autofocus isn't there and I need it, then there's no substitute. Matt, not sure about Vietnam, but as per my experience, just came back from Japan and I've learned something. You cannot buy or almost find Sony products in Japan in any language other than Japanese. Interesting. So, so they're not universal. Like so for example, if you buy a camera here in America, usually you can change over the language to any language that you want. Um, so it's interesting, excuse me, that Japan would be locking it behind a language barrier. I hate that. I did think about, depending on the success of the travel channel, or I believe, and I'm prepared. I know there's always an element of luck to everything, but I'm prepared to a large degree to have a very successful travel channel in the future, hopefully. But I would like to say, if we start getting some faster success, I will be traveling to other countries besides more Southeast Asian countries that are cheaper. Right now, Southeast Asian countries are where I can afford. I am coming to Australia, though. I'm not sure when, not sure exactly what part, but my wife's aunt is from Australia. She said that we can have a place to stay, so we don't have to worry about room and board. So I'm going to see Australia for the first time. So I'm excited about that. But that's more expensive than Southeast Asia for sure. I would love to say I would like do a video where I go to Japan and buy some cameras or go to some of that stuff. I think that's super interesting to go to where a lot of our main cameras come out of, or the main camera companies come out of. I think it's interesting. Vita said, I wanted to buy the A7S III and no way, nope, the only selectable language is Japanese. There are marketing reasons for that for the last 20 years. Wow. There, I bought the R5. So the R5 didn't have a language gap barrier, or you just did it for that? Um, Interesting why that would be. Some countries have different regulations about that type of stuff. Like they want their, it's kind of like a sense of national pride. So I think that that's very interesting. Jason, I know you've been busy, and I'm super busy because you've been doing that new studio. I think you had that Ronin, or was it the Weeble? Did you do the Ronin review or the Weeble review? I think you were Weeble. There were so many different. They both came out that same day, but I watched whatever review you had. I thought it was interesting. So I know you've been doing a lot of different reviews, and I know you've been doing a lot of your moving studios. That being said, both. Okay, that's awesome. Oh, I actually bought the Ronin, the new Ronin. I fell for it. The marketing. I never used gimbals, and yet I'm like, well, I'm going to Vietnam, and I don't know. I have the original Ronin. I like used it 3 times, but I hope with this Ronin, with the locking mechanism, and it's like 3 generations off. I hope that I will enjoy it and use it more because, I mean, if you're walking through Vietnam, you're gonna want to have some interesting things like at temples, and at the same time, I want to have a mixture of like great cinematics, but also have more of a vlog style, relatable stuff. Um, so the Ronin is the best by far, or the Weeble, or they're both adequate. Anyways, I got the Ronin. I made that decision. I'm glad it's good because I'm buying it. I also one of my hopes is in Vietnam, as I continue to travel and make more videos with hotels. I'm hoping to be able to kind of trade services for with hotels to get extra stay in order to let my money last longer in Vietnam. But I was saying the RS3. Okay, so thank you for clarifying. What I was saying, and we talked about this, I Instagrammed you, and I know you want to do it, or you at least say we can do it, which I appreciate. I need or would love to do a some kind of crossover with you, man. I love your style, and I know it would absolutely be doing me a favor because your channel is rocking and rolling. Um, but I definitely appreciate the opportunity whenever time gets better for both of us. Um, and I would love to shadow you sometime, like not shadow you in a creepy way, but if I if and when I do come to Australia, if it's somewhere near you, like even if I just went to a set and was like a B cam person for you or whatever, and I could just document, like I'd do it obviously for free, but just like learn about what you do and maybe do like a behind the scenes with you, kind of like telling my experience about going on professional shoots like you do, and maybe like document it with you. That'd be super cool. Uh, I do not know which city in Vietnam, in Australia, but I mean it'd be worth making a trip over to see you. But before that, I would love to do some kind of I would love. I've thought about this, and you can kind of give me your idea on it. But since you seem to be kind of free on this time of day, and I think it would be so value for people because of just your expertise and your knowledge, I would like to maybe do like, and you could kind of throw this out or whatever. But I would love to do like an interview with you when I get a little bit better of a setup, live stream interview. Um, and we could talk like both of us on the camera, and I think maybe do two versions, or we could record it that same day. But maybe for my channel, I would like to bring you on as saying like, letting people know, because a lot of people who are watching my channel are learning about the new cameras and everything else and are excited to buy new cameras. But there is a gap, even with myself, about knowing how to buy a new camera and knowing how to even use a camera, but being able to market yourself and really make money that justifies your purchases. And you seem to be able to do that excellent. I think that would be a great benefit for the people who watch my channel to just be able to pick your brain about that and get some of your secrets on that. And then vice versa, even though you still know probably more about that stuff too, but if we could do something on your channel with the same recording, and maybe you can ask me about we can just again have a conversation maybe about like the future of cameras, talk more about the camera news type stuff, and then that way your audience would maybe get a feel for who I am. I don't know. I thought that might be a good idea since we're pressed for time at different stuff. Um, and then of course, if I come to Australia, I am going to do what I can do to come see you and just learn from you, and you can use me as an extra hand on set. I'll go buy you coffee, Jason. You're that good. If you guys have not checked out Jason's channel, he is a beast. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's really great. Vita says, I live in Sydney. Will move to Texas in 6 months. Interesting. That'd be cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where her aunt lives, but I can make it happen if it was. I don't, like I said, I don't want to impose 100% either, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, so we could talk about it some other time. Appreciate it. Don put up the bowing hands. I think he's talking about bowing down to Jason's talent. So appreciate that because it's true. He's really great. Jason said, I'll buy you a coffee. Too kind, my friend. Well, I appreciate it for sure. Like anything, it would just be fun. It would be fun to meet somebody who is on your caliber and learn from you. Really pick your brain a little bit and do some behind the scenes stuff. It would definitely help out my channel because your channel's excellent on quality level and on success level. Good stuff. I think you're approaching 50,000 subscribers. Have you already hit that? I know you were up there. close to it. I know it was like 40 to 50. So, Jason said Sydney is cool. So cool. Vita. Dude. Well, if you're coming to Vietnam, I will, and I'll be traveling around there. Let me know when you come, because I don't know. Tentatively, we will be there till like March, or not March, February. It's not exact, but it's a possibility. If we're there in February and you come before then, I will. I'm not saying I can pay for anything, but it's fairly cheap. But I can probably direct you to some cool spots. And my wife is Vietnamese, so we could probably get a little bit of an extra culturally authentic videos. If you wanted to do that, that would be a cool crossover as well. And you can show me how to make better travel videos, which I'm going to be doing that for the next 6 months, 7 months. So more information coming on that in the next month or so, or not month or so, but coming 3 or 4 months. But I will be, when I'm there, I'm going to do my best. Obviously, I'm going to be continuing the camera news, but as well, I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing the camera news while I'm over there, but I also want to be just, I'm going to do a video taking my first camera, my Fujifilm X-T20, and just doing some street photography with it with a pancake lens and seeing what I can create. Because it's not always about the best camera. It's about what camera makes you feel good and getting out there, and that's a very non-discrete camera. I'm going to do some comparisons with different stuff. I really think that this is an interesting idea to do. I want to start doing with some of the new lenses I got. Like I have the 85 1.4 from Sigma I just got not too long ago. I would like to do a video series about different primes. And I kind of not learned this, but I was a little bit inspired by Peter McKinnon when he got the Leica 27 millimeter, and he was just talking about how it's a fixed lens, and it's kind of changed the way he shot. I would think that I would really enjoy just like, okay, let me shoot everything on this particular video with an 85 and let people know my experience about using the 85, what I was drawn to shoot with it, what are some of the limitations, as well as some of the things that I feel would be helpful for people to do that. And I just want to do the exercise partially for my own benefits of becoming a better creator, but also I think that would be an interesting thing that maybe could inspire some people. That's a thought process. Jason says, also can't so much say, but there is a great firmware coming for a camera. Lip sealed. Oh, okay. Okay. So confirmed. Jason said, sorry. Dude, that's super exciting because I think you're hinting at certain stuff. Could I make a video and not quote you at all, but just say like, I've heard a source, or I have a source that leads me to believe that there's a new camera firmware coming for a camera. Great firmware coming for a camera, because I can just say a Sony camera and give like an estimate and not say it's coming from, I can say an anonymous source. I don't know the details. I don't know if that's going to put you in trouble with an NDA. I won't say anything besides being here, but that would be a cool little thing for me to speculate and make a video saying I heard from an anonymous source. I don't know the details. Yeah. Don just said he subbed to Jason's channel as well. I do not think you will be disappointed. Jason is great at what he does, and he has an amazing Australian accent, which is jelly over here. Yeah, man, that's what I've heard. Okay, so if you're cool with me making a video, not naming you, but just saying I have a source that says there's going to be a firmware update exciting firmware update for a Sony camera coming, and I am guessing and got the impression that it's going to be for the A1 and say 7S3. That's where my mind went. Yeah, go for it. You're great. I needed a video idea because I'm leaving on the plane Tuesday, and I don't really have a good video idea for what to post this week. So, because I wanted to get a video done so that I can post it while I'm gone, like have it on a schedule. So I might be able to shoot that tomorrow or the next day. But we leave Tuesday morning, and I'm still packing and trying to figure everything out. Hey, I was gonna ask, has anybody used like a media pass with when they're traveling? Because I hear you can basically print yourself off a media pass and maybe just have some cards, and a lot of times that'll suffice, and that allows you to take a heavier bag. But I don't want to like just show up at the airport and then get stuck with a $200 extra fee or something, or them say, "Oh, those credentials don't work. You're a YouTuber." But anyways, I've heard that it's easy to do, but I don't know if I want to take the risk. I would like to though, because my bag is getting heavy, and it's just one bag that I've packed, and it's not even done. I have to pack this light, this Godox, one of like the VL, whatever the one that was supposed to be one of the higher end ones, but it's the Godox 300. It's a heavy, light, so I gotta pack that up along with the soft box, and then I have different cameras packed, as well as my Ninja 5 and the new gimbal, and so it's just like I would like to get it going. Vita says, I've got visitors and need to leave. Have a good rest of the day. Nice chatting with you all. Hey, Vita, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can show up to other live streams, and hopefully you'll check out the channel more, or if you may already be doing that. But I appreciate you being here. Don says, take care, Vita. Absolutely, take care, man. Enjoy the visitors. Enjoy the weekend, the rest of your weekend, because I think if you're in Sydney right now, then I guess that's Sunday morning for you guys. Sunday afternoon, maybe. I don't know. Oh, cool, Jason, man. I appreciate the insider information. I do want to get better at that, because I think, I don't want, right now I pretty much regurgitate what I'm hearing from Canon rumors and then speculate from there on out. Not Canon rumors, but any of the rumor sites, and then kind of speculate my own thoughts. But I would like to be able to say, hey, yeah, I have sources too and stuff. So we'll see. Hey guys, we're coming up on an hour. If you guys want to shoot any last questions at me, go for it. If not, I need to kind of wrap it up. I have some more packing to do. This is also nerdy of me, of course, but this is my, I play video games one day a week with my friends in a social manner. And this is that day to be able to play with them, and it may be the last day I get to play with them in months, considering I'm going to Vietnam. I'm taking my Xbox, but I might not have a TV, so I might not be able to play. But that's the way I keep in touch with my friends and my family. Actually, I have friends and family I do that, so that's tonight, as well as packing, and so I kind of will need to be closing it up fairly shortly. We're coming up on an hour. If you have any like pressing questions of, hey, we need to, I wanted to ask you this, or you have any last stuff to ask, shoot away. Like I said, I'm very appreciative of everybody that showed up already. But if you have any last questions or any other topics you want me to cover, I will for sure. Appreciate everybody being here. Don says, enjoy it. Also, safe flight in 60 hours. Absolutely. It's 60 hours until my flight. Leave Tuesday morning. And then it's a 27-hour trek with layovers to Vietnam. And then 5 hours to our hometown from Ho Chi Minh. Whew, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm excited, but also nervous, because I need to get better about scripting my videos. I felt like I was way too scripted in the past, like in my beginning videos, but now I feel like I'm not scripted enough. So I'm trying to learn how to script more travel videos, and I guess I'm feeling the pressure of wanting to do that. But we have some plans, but I want to come out the gate with some high quality stuff. Okay, coming up on an hour. Appreciate everybody for showing up. I'm not seeing any extra chats, so I am going to call it a night. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you, Jason, for dropping some knowledge on us. And yeah, until next time, which, hey, this will be more than likely, this is the last live stream in this studio. I don't know if I'll have one more video in the studio, but I'll be in Vietnam more than likely next time you're seeing me live. So live streaming from Vietnam would be fun. Until next time, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week. Love you all. Thank you. Peace.